A great song, by the way. I want you to know that. That's incredible. Jeff and Melissa, you are without question great leaders. The quality and the content of what I heard was second to none. Really second to none. And you know, I've coached and trained and mentored people over 35 years full-time in the industry. And I'm just so impressed by the small snippet, if you want to call it that, of what I've been blessed to just hear. I want more, you know, just as a teacher, as a coach in the industry, when I come across people like you. And I remember your humble beginnings, Jeff. I remember your humble beginnings, Melissa. The desire, the fire in your eyes, and how bad you wanted to make this thing work. And to see you grow into the leader that you are, you know, the funny, I mean, I don't know, you were cracking me up. You cracked me up when I first got on the line tonight. Let me tell you how you cracked me up. Nextel. Does anybody remember the Nextel phones? My God, those were two-way walkie-talkie phones. Remember that? Yeah. Unbelievable, man. More for construction workers. Am I right, buddy? Huh? See, I remember that. Remember, it was a crazy, man. Crazy. Reminds me of the pager days. Oh my God. But it's a wonderful pleasure to be on the line with all of you new CQs, all of the new ETLs, and we have some leaders. And I'm going to say that most of you, I don't know any of you. I mean, maybe one or two of you I may know, truthfully, but I've been part of ACN a year after startup. So this is my 29th year, about ready to begin my 30th year in the company. And unlike many of you, when I looked at this as a professional in the industry, I was at the top of another company when I looked at it. You know, company had no revenue, no one was making any money. So, but I had some ideas of what would make it go. And one of the things was the incredible concept of really what we do. And it was said by, one of the testimonies that I heard was, you know, how can you not get excited about the essential services? People that are paying bills, they have to pay for every month. They got to do it anyway, and it's never going to stop. And you can redirect that and get paid month after month, year after year, like the largest providers in the world. I mean, that was the sexiest thought I ever heard of. I mean, if I could get paid like the largest providers in the world, and I can validate that to be real, I want that. That was my thought as a professional 30 years ago. So now, let me say this to you. We still today have the most provocative concept in all of direct selling. It's provocative. You know, it isn't like I'm trying to talk you into something you haven't done before. It isn't like I'm changing a habit or creating a habit. No, you have spend every month. This is your spend, right? And all we're doing is this. Isn't that cute? All we're doing is that. We're redirecting spending. And so I had to get that clear in my mind that I need to put this in words. I got to create images in my mind. I had these images that I had to create words for to express, describe, and explain in a professional way, exactly like you heard tonight, Jeff do tonight, like Melissa did tonight, in how to eloquently, confidently, with fanatical belief, irrevocable commitment, undeniable, irresistible, unstoppable messaging. That's all it is. It's messaging. that when you show up in such a way that's irresistible because you make so much freaking sense, what are people going to do? Oh, this doesn't make any sense. Oh, that's the stupidest thing I ever seen in my. You'll never hear that, ever, ever. As a matter of fact, it's how you include them. It's how, when you express, describe, and explain professionally, and when you have this level of confidence, and it doesn't happen tomorrow. Look, I know I'm on a CQ call and an ETL call. These are your new leaders. But do you mind if I elevate for a minute? Do you mind if I take you where I want you to go, even though you may not be there yet? Because I want to talk to you at a level where you need to be and make you feel like you can get there. There's two things that we do. It will never stop. We get customers and we build teams to get customers. That's it. That's it. And you can have not just stability, not just survival. Some people, they get involved in this. They really need to make money because things are survival to stability, some stability to advancement, from some advancement to success, from success to significance, and from significance to distinction. How many of you want to be significant? How would you like to reach a distinctive level in your industry as a professional, well recognized within the craft that you pursued? Who doesn't? Who doesn't? And I didn't have this thought as a IDO. I mean, I didn't have this thought as a brand new rep. Raskin was a rep like you. I started as a rep. I had no customers the first day I signed up. I looked in the mirror. The night I signed up, I was shaving. Just shaving. And my thought was, with no revenue the company had, no one was making any money. My thought was, what the hell did I just do? And staring back at me was my entire organization. Now I had skill, but man, I went to work, man. I planted my ACN flag and I was leading a national expansion. Now, I want you to hear me very clearly. Listen to me. This is a key nugget for you. You need to be leading your expansion, because when you lead or assist in the development of an expansion, see, some of you have this image of yourself like, well, I've never done anything like that before. I've never led something in business. You know, this is my first time doing it, or this is my first business I've ever been in. Well, okay, I get that. Can you assist in the development of something? Yes. Oh, that's more like me. I can assist. I want you to meet the people leading it. They told me, who do you think would be great at what we're doing? Oh, I told them all about you. When you meet them, sparks is going to fly. I think fireworks are going to go off. You need to meet Jeff and Melissa. You need to meet, let's say it's you they're talking about. And so I had a first day, I had a first week, I had a first month, I had a first year. Pat Mazer had a first day. He had a first week, first month, first year. Mike, all of the top people, every SVP, every one of us had the doubts, had the fear, had the worry. Will this work? Is it really as good as it appears to be? We all felt that way. But 30 years later, like the hat, huh? 30, you can get your hat in Fort Worth. But I'll talk about that in a second. But 30 years ago, These were the things. 30 years later, these are the same things leading your expansion. I want to let you know, when you lead something, when you are something, when you have this level, I see it written in the chat, a level of distinction, where you are separated from what most people are saying, where you are bold enough to declare and proclaim what you are going to do before you do it, people will lean in on you. They will lean in. It's okay. You may not be able to speak it like Jeff, Melissa, or a bunch of other people that are on this line or around you or part of your uplines that are helping you grow right now. You may not be able to do it, but can you get it off of yourself, make yourself unimportant, and edify off of you to them? Because if you can, that is how you learn. New people peak and invite. Experienced uplines present and train. How many of you feel a level of relief with that? Now, in a very short period of time, you need to be presenting, because this business is about one thing: creating independent leaders that can operate a business without you. Not dependent, whiny, thumb-sucking, energy-draining representatives. Yeah, right? Not those people. This is all about independent operators. Now, here's the good news. You're not doing as well as you'd like. Listen to me very clearly. Please pay attention to this. You're not doing as well as you want to. You thought you'd be further ahead than you currently are. But that's okay, because there's one thing that we include in our business. Very few people, and I've taught this for 35 years. And you know what it is? It's a 4-letter word. I'm going to love you into production. I'm going to love you right into production. I'm going to let you know how valuable you are. I'm going to let you know, remember what you said to me when we first met, why you were going to do this business. Look, I know you can do this business. I'm going to help you do this business, but you got to give me 2 things. All I'm asking you is 2 things. And it's not the 2 things you think. I need your participation and your cooperation. I can't do it for you. I can do it with you. But man, I love you. Short time I've gotten to know you, I think the world of you. And when you say it, you got to mean it. If you don't mean it, don't say it. I'm not telling you to say things you don't mean. So I want you to know that as great as it appeared when I first saw this, and you know who recruited me? Was Robert Stevanovsky. He recruited me. In other words, my broke friend actually piqued me, but there was Robert, the co-founders were all in the field. They were building it. They were recruiting, they were training, they were meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. And then the meeting after the meeting, they were doing it all. Running the company, doing the present. Of course, you had to find the leadership. But Robert was in Baltimore, Maryland, my hometown, and actually was in Philadelphia, and I drove up to Philly to meet him from Baltimore. And he said what he said to me, and I just thanked him for his time. And he said that it wasn't just long distance calling, it was every bill that we would pay for, that people would pay for in the beginning, and services that are not yet here. And by the way, the big thing that's coming is the internet. I said, what? The internet. What's that? This is March of 1994. Didn't have a computer, didn't have an email, and I was scared to death of technology. Scared. So I just need you to understand, you know, Larry Raskin knew nothing about the internet, knew nothing about technology, knew nothing about information superhighway, knew nothing about this industry. But he told me that we would get paid on every bill that people pay for every single month for the rest of their life. They're going to have to pay their bills, whether the economy is up or the economy is down. One thing is consistent: no matter what is happening in the economy, people will pay their bills. And I just had this overwhelming sense of calm It was like a column. It went like this. Oh my God. What am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with this? And I couldn't sleep. There's insomnia hit me square in the face, kept on punching me in the face. I'm telling you, I planted my flag. I worked this thing from 8 to faint. 8 to faint. 8 to faint. I worked at 40 hours a day, 10 days a week, 50 days a month. I was everything all the time, every day, all out massive action. I said, oh my God, if anybody with common sense sees this, it's over. It's over. I'm going to get everybody. And by the way, let me tell you who I went after. Doctors, lawyers, executives, business owners, entrepreneurs. I went after the best people I knew, people that already knew how to make money. That's who I went after. Why? Why? Because they'd see it in a second. Why am I going after my broke brother-in-law? He's never made any money. And by the way, there's a reason why people are broke. There's a reason why people are left out of things. It's because sometimes they're complaining. Who wants to be around a complainer, right? I'm here to tell you, the very people that are the most successful are the people I went after. Now, they're all good people. Don't get me wrong. Whether you make money, don't make money, they're all good. I'm saying, if I wanted to build it from the top down rather than from the bottom up, I built it from the top down and the bottom up. Does that make sense, everybody? So I want you to get this. You're leading your expansion, and you need to go after the best people you know. And you need to be excited, genuinely excited, not a fake excitement. You got to say, you need to hear about something, but I don't think you can hear it from me. Or you need to hear about something. You need to meet the people that are leading this expansion. You know, I told these guys all about you, and I'm telling you, once you hear it the same way that I did, I can't even imagine you two guys getting together. I've met your match. I've met your twin. Whatever. Get them connecting. You get the point, right? You're creating curiosity, right? Mystique. And so you put the two together, and guess what? That's what you do in the beginning, right? CQs, right? ETLs. That's what you do. You know, your job is to get as many eyeballs on this as you can. That's it. Eyeballs. Eyeballs. That's it. And it's not your fault. Whatever they decide, it's not your fault. Peak, expose, they get the information, we let them decide. Take them to training. If I'm making sense, I'm going to pause right here. Can I see your hand? Okay, good. So it's very, very important that you understand your role. You need to understand what you're doing now. You're leading your expansion. You know, you're at your developmental level, whatever that is. Those of you that are, you know, on your way to SVP, on your way to RVP, or on your way to RD, maybe even RC, please work on your language. Work on the ability to effectively communicate. Work on the ability to just describe the perspectives, you know, of how you really feel about this, but it needs to be rehearsed, practiced, drilled, and rehearsed. You know, write it down. I write down a lot of things. Write down a lot. I write down a lot of things. People say, oh, you sound so great. Man, I prepared for this call. Do you hear me? I mean, I can do things impromptu. I could, of course I can. But you know, Jeff, did we have a conversation before the call? You know, he wanted me to talk about, Larry, you know, just do you, man. Do you, man. You know, do your vision. You know, I don't have to tell you, just do it. I said, well, who's on the call? He says, well, they're rather new people. You know, don't hurt anybody, but let them have it. So here I am. Am I hurting anybody? I don't think so, right? I'm being as honest as I can with you. If there is a better opportunity out there? I haven't seen it. I just haven't seen it in the direct selling industry. I haven't seen it. And with impact health sharing, look, I've seen every season, 29 winters, 29 falls and springs and summers all over the world. I led the expansion of the United States. I led the expansion of Europe. I led the expansion of Asia Pacific. I led the expansion of Latin America. For the last 8 years, I've been in Latin America. I'm back in North America, man, and I got a message for you. I got a message for you. Put on your seatbelts. We're taking off. We're taking off. It's time to run. It's time to run. 2023 equals 2009, mid-year to late year. There's going to be a debacle, and there's going to be a talent pool out there that is going to be so wide and so deep. You're going to be pulling Moby Dicks out of your city, the biggest players possible. That's what you're going to be pulling out of the water. They're going to say, I want to run. I understand you. Hey, say no more. I'm in. Impact Health, I got it. Everything else, I got it. Comp plan, I got it. Just tell me what to do. Explain that comp plan to me. And then follow the system that Melissa and Jeff have laid out and have mastered. They've mastered their system. And one thing I want to say to you is that you could have been recruited into any organization. I want you to understand this. I want to let that sink in for a minute. You could have been recruited by anybody, but it just so happened you fell in this organization. You cannot take that for granted. You can't. If you do, God help you. Because if you can't do it with the kind of support and the commitment they have to their people, the way they love on their people, the way they care on their people, when they say they're going to do something, they show up every time. Every time they show up. Well, you show up. Because if you do, it's a match made in heaven. And I want you to know that if you love this business, or you think you love this business, then you have to do what the very best people of all time have ever done. Not just in ACN, but in every company, in every region of the world. They've done the same exact thing because it was that important. You know what that is? They went to their Elevate events. They went to their national events, because leaders are born at events. Leaders are born there. There's never been one RVP. There's never been one SVP whose birthplace, their birthplace, was at a national event. And so if you're already registered, that's awesome. But you need to bring 5 or 10 more people with you if you have, because here's what will happen if you show up. And I'm happy that you've already signed up. You'll be there and you'll say this, I wish I would have had 5. I should have been more convincing, more influential, more persuasive. Why did I let him win that argument? Because you got to remember, when you're going back and forth with people and you're trying to get them to do something that they don't yet see as a value to do, remember, it's either you're winning or they're winning. And you're going to have that thought is that I should have tried a little harder. I should have pushed a little more. Damn it. My takeaway here is unbelievable. My life will never be the same again. And for those that haven't signed up yet, I'm telling you, you need to go. You need to go. I want to tell you a story about that. There are a lot of people that face hardship. Financial hardship is what I'm referring to. I remember stories, and I'm going back 29 years now, okay? People that would drive 29 hours in a truck. I'm talking about people that couldn't afford rooms, but there was one room with 16 people in it. People sleeping in the bathtub, sleeping all over the floor. Now, of course, they were younger. They were younger people, the Hun family, right? Jesus, so, I mean, I have story after they couldn't afford food, but they had a garbage bag of Harvest bars. And these people went senior vice president. And they told that story from the stage. There are people that sat in the back of the arena so far, they needed binoculars to see the stage. But somebody did a testimonial at that national event. And it was somebody they didn't know, that didn't care whether it moved them or not, but they said something that they related to from someone that would not benefit whether they did anything or not. And it was that person, the power that they had on that stage, that ignited the fire within you. And then you were never the same again. And your life changed at that very moment. That's the power that each one of you have. What am I referring to? The world needs to hear your story. Every one of you has an unbelievable story. And it needs to be told. You will change lives. Your story, let me tell you why. Because you matter. You count. You matter. And so I want you to realize that everybody needs each other. We all need each other. And so I'm just so excited that you're on this team, because you're going to be well taken care of, but you have to do your part. You have to do your part. Will you do your part? Will you? I hope so. I pray that you do. Tomorrow, you have the ability to listen to the very best of the best. The people that actually poured into Jeff and Melissa and created the monsters that they are is the gentleman that will be presenting tomorrow morning, the one and only Pat Mazur. When Pat speaks, Larry shuts up. When Pat speaks, Larry grabs a pad. When Pat speaks, Larry just stares at Pat. I remember when Pat signed up. I remember when Pat was in the front row in my training. I remember, look, he's going to go over a quick start training tomorrow morning. And there's no one better on the planet to go over this than him. And since you're all new, you're going to understand why. I mean, my God, you're part of, so it goes like this: Jeff and Melissa, and there's Pat Mike. Jeez, whiz. Not a bad thing, right? It's exciting. I want you to hear this. So will all of you be on the call tomorrow morning with Pat Mazur Quick Start Training, and get as many people on the call as possible? As a matter of fact, Melissa, you asked me for this when we were in Charlotte. You may have already shared it with people, but I'll share it with everybody again. Average is what failures claim to be when their family and friends ask them why they're not more successful. Average is the top of the bottom, the best of the worst, the bottom of the top, the worst of the best. Which of these may be you? Average means run-of-the-mill, mediocre, insignificant, and also ran, a non-entity. Being average is a lazy person's cop-out. It's lacking the guts to take a stand in life. It's living by default. Being average is to take up space for no purpose, to take the trip through life but never pay the fare, to return no interest for God's investment in you. Being average is to pass one's life away with time rather than to pass one's time away with life. It's time to kill, killing time, rather than to work it to death. To be average is to be forgotten once you pass through from this life. The successful are remembered for their contributions. The failures are remembered because they tried. But the average, the silent majority, they're just forgotten. To be average is to commit the greatest crime one can against oneself, humanity, and one's God. The saddest epitaph would be this: here lies Mr. and Mrs. Average. Here lies the remains of what might have been, except for their belief that they were only average. Don't be average. None of you are average. You are more than enough, and you are more than capable to being a senior vice president. Jeff and Melissa, thank you so much for asking me to be on this call. I hope I get to do it again.
Mr. Raskin, thank you so much for being on this call with us here. The chat is blowing up in appreciation. And, guys, let's give a big round of applause for Larry Raskin, and, drop a couple words in the chat of what you got out of Mr. Raskin's teaching here tonight. I want Larry to see some of the takeaways that people got out of him pouring into you guys here tonight. And it's just such an honor, having Larry on the call. I'm going SVP. I'm leading the national expansion. More vision, inspired, be extraordinary, 8 to faint, average will never sound the same. My wife is crying. Don't be average, lead by example. And my wife is not crying, by the way. That was one of the ones in the chat. But leaders are born at events. Man, I think that was one of the biggest things, guys. We are just 2 weeks away from being together in Fort Worth, Texas. That's and right. It's not too late to get other people to come with you. Melissa, show Mr. Raskin the chart. This is our convention chart. Larry, as a team, we're committed to bringing hundreds and hundreds of lives to Fort Worth, the national convention. People's lives.
Awesome, Melissa. Awesome.
At this event, we completed page 1 this week. We're about to hit complete, the first column of page 2, and we're not done. We are on a crusade to go out and get as many people as we can to this event. Not for us. We don't make a penny. We don't make a penny for people going to conventions, but we've made a lot of money with people that have gone out and gotten trained. So guys, anybody you have on your team that hasn't made the decision yet to come to Fort Worth, whatever we can do to help them get there. If they need
by the way, Andy Andrews, one of my favorite personal development people, are going to, I can't wait to see Andy again. He wrote a book called The Traveler's Gift. He also, within that book, was something called the 7 Decisions. It's principles of how to live the proper way. He's doing a special training designed for exactly what we do and how we do what we do. He's very familiar with network marketing. He was tied into the Amway Corporation for many years. And what you need to know is that it's one of the very best trainings that you will ever see. Just to see him would be worth the trip. I'm also blessed to be a keynote that particular weekend, and I can't wait to give you this message that I put together specifically for the Fort Worth event. So thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you, Melissa. God bless you both. Okay. Take care, team legacy.
Thank you, Larry.
You got it. Take care. I'll see you, Jeff.
Thank you, Larry, so much for being on the call tonight. God bless, my friend. Well, guys, man, what a powerful evening. And again, who's one more person you can get to come with you to the event? I know there might be 1 or 2 of you guys on the line here tonight where you haven't made the decision yet to go yourself. Come with us. I'm like Jerry Maguire. Who's coming with me? Come with us. My very first ACN National Convention was one of the 3 most impactful events of my entire life. First one was me giving my life to Christ. The second one was me meeting Melissa. The third one was my first ACN National Convention. Those are the 3 most impactful events, I believe, in my entire life. And there's lives that can be changed, guys. But again, we got to draw the line in the sand. We got to fight for people. And for the couple of you that haven't made the decision yet, they're on the call, you can't bring somebody else with you until you decide to go. But when you make the decision of I'm worth it, whatever you said your why was earlier on, as long as that why is bigger than the obstacles that stand in your way, you're coming with us to Fort Worth. Now, if your why is smaller than that obstacle, you got to find a bigger why. Because as soon as you make the decision of I'm going, all of a sudden it goes from should I go to who can I bring with me? And you will not regret being there, I promise you. So what we are going to do is going to take 5 minutes to wrap up the night. Unless Melissa had something else you want to say. Go ahead, Melissa.
Yeah, you know what? We were supposed to go to California today for one of my girlfriend's wedding, but the flight got canceled because they're having severe thunderstorms and all that, which please pray for them. It's not normal. But we were planning to have like a really nice sushi dinner with my best friend tonight where, that was $300 a person. And then we were going to go shopping yesterday. And so we were going to spend all this money, but now we're not. So I still want to spend money. And Jeff has no idea I'm about to do this, but I want to do this. If we have at least 10 people that register tonight, like you buy your ticket tonight, I want to pay for somebody. Like I want to reimburse you back for your commitment of going. And so what I'm doing is I was creating little raffle tickets so that when you register and you tell me you registered, like I can see you too, when you register on the reports, I will put your name in a bucket and I will personally pay you back for your convention tickets. $159 in full transparency, $159 a ticket, but I will pay you back because of your commitment. So if anyone's interested in a free ticket, we could totally do that right now. I don't know if you guys are open to that. Anyone open to that? I'm throwing the little registration link right now in the chat. So pull it, let's, we'll play some music or something, we could do this.